Good morning, everybody. Today is October the 8th of 2021, and today is the beginning of your journey to happiness. Now, let me first tell you that I am not a professional and I'm just speaking from personal experience. So, I'm going to just try to give you some background on myself first. So, I was born and raised in the Washington, D.C. area from birth all the way up until the age of 18, living in a single parent home. My mom was a single mother. I guess she kind of still is, right? Um, she had me at the age of 21. Um, I was always a happy kid, always. Grew up with a lot of family around. Um, and it was great. Every weekend I was somewhere from my aunt and uncle's house, cousins, things of that such. Um, from first through eighth grade, I went to predominantly white schools in Maryland, and then as I reached high school, that's where I went to predominantly black schools. And it was a culture shock. I hid my body, wore big clothes. Even when I was a cheerleader, I always wore sweatpants or leggings under my skirt because um, I was just this tiny, under 100-pound girl um, with a small frame, but very top heavy. And I didn't like that type of attention. But nonetheless, um, I always had dreams of becoming a doctor. So I went to a program in Frostburg University in Maryland, where we basically just, took some short little classes over the summer just to get familiar with the medical world, and it was amazing. It was a great program, honestly. In the fall of that year, I went to Bennett College in Greensboro, North Carolina. Um, for those that you don't know, for those of you who don't know, Bennett is a all women's college. Great culture. After one semester, I took off for 4 years. During those 4 years, I worked in, two different places. The first being Home Depot, which was a great job. The camaraderie there was amazing. In addition to that, once I left there, I started working in a call center, and that's where I met my best friend. Um, Her name is Arnisha. She told me that I needed to go back to school. And I was like, I don't know about this. Like, it's been 4 years. I don't know. I'm too old at this point, right? Well, she encouraged me to, and I applied back to Bennett. Um, so Bennett denied me, and I wrote an appeal, and I was accepted. So I went on to my first semester back at college, living on campus in Greensboro, North Carolina, as a 21-year-old adult, non traditional student. Um, and I had a great experience from day one. Unfortunately, in September, which was about a month after I got to school, my best friend, who was ill, passed away. And that was hard on me. That was really hard. But at the end of the day, I thought about it and I said, you know what? Her her mission was to be my guardian angel and to get me to where I needed to be. And then her job was done. And that's exactly what, like, her job was done. Once I got to school and I was doing well, her job was done. I stayed at Bennett for a year. And I transferred to North Carolina A&T State University, um, Aggie Pride, and we are nationwide. Um, Lived on campus for a year, and then after that, I went on to live off campus. I will tell you that after I graduated college in December of 2007, um, in which my husband graduated from A&T as well in May of 2007, because he did some things too, as far as he did internships, he did co-ops. So we were basically on the same path. But May of 2008, got married. By the end of that year, we were pregnant with our first son. Um, they sent me home to miscarry because I woke up in the middle of the night very sick, cramping, and they said, "You're in the first stages of miscarriage." So I went home, stayed home from work for a week. Um, and he stuck. He is here today, alive and well. He is 12. When he was 14 months old, um, that's when I realized something was not right with me. I was crying, I was frustrated, had a lot of anxiety, lots of depression, and I finally went to see a doctor. And I was living in Durham, North Carolina at that time. When I went to see that doctor, it was a Black female doctor. She said, I'm not going to put you on anything. And, with you coming in at 14 months, I mean, after 14 months of having your baby, technically it's not called postpartum, but this is what you've been going through for the last 14 months. You've been going through postpartum depression. But because of timing, this is major depression for you. And I'm not going to put you on any medicine. But what I am going to tell you to do is I'm going to tell you to go outside, get some sun, walk around, and surround yourself with people who are positive, because that's what's going to get you going every day. So that was my first, I would say, bout with depression. And it sucked really bad. And, my husband didn't understand. He was just like, this is a joke. Like, this isn't real, until we went to counseling and they explained to him, well, this is real. What she's going through is real. This is a real thing. And from that point on, there was so much respect that surrounded my invisible disability. We tried for a second kid, and unfortunately, we lost it. That's when I found out I had endometriosis. Um, for some years after that, we kept trying, and we just couldn't. We couldn't get pregnant. So we moved here to Northwest Arkansas for his job, and I was just in so much pain. There was so much going on where I was just like, this is not gonna work. Like, I can't live every day being so, just hurt every day inside of me, um, and it was affecting me mentally as well. And I scheduled my surgery for them to go in and just see how big my fibroid was, in addition to see how bad my endometriosis was. So as I was scheduling that, my doctor said, it's very possible that we'll have to take everything out. And I said, okay. So my husband and I had been trying to have another baby. And I was like, it is what it is at this point. Well, when I went for my pre-op, we learned that we were pregnant. Um, and during that time of me being pregnant, the first trimester, had a lot of complications from where I needed to be. I needed to go to the doctor every week, and I had to be on progesterone pills as well. After starting those progesterone pills, I became very sick. Couldn't get up in the morning. My neighbors would have to come and get Darius and take him to school. Well, that's when I learned that the very first ingredient for progesterone is peanuts, and I am allergic to peanuts. So that's what was getting me sick. But what's important about this is that the progesterone was important for me to stay pregnant because my hormones were so low. So my doctor at that time said, from this day forward, you can no longer take this medicine. We have to operate with prayer from this point on, because I was having to take progesterone up until I was 13 weeks pregnant, at least. At that time, I was only 8 weeks pregnant. So she said, we're going to have to pray every day. Well, he stuck there, even though through the complications and everything after that, he stuck there. But another complication came, which was that my fibroid that was in my stomach was covering this part, like this left side of my stomach. And Dylan, who's now 5.5, he could only move in a C. So like I could never feel him over here because this fibroid was growing as he was growing. So I could only feel him here in a C. Now Darius, when he was born, he was 8 pounds 1 ounce. Dylan was under 7 pounds, so he was like 6 pounds 9 ounces, I believe, and so that was small compared to Darius. That was small, but the labor was amazing. Labor went very well. Because I went through depression after my first kid, I decided that after I had Dylan, after 6 weeks, I would go straight back to work. I didn't want to. I didn't want to take time sitting home and then end up falling back into depression. Like I was waking up every day, opening up all of the curtains and everything, stepping outside, things of that nature, because I needed to make sure that I was getting all the sunlight. Um, so I went back to work after 6 weeks, and my husband stayed home with Dylan for I would say about 2 weeks until he could get his shots, and then he could start daycare. Um, and I think that was the best thing I'd ever done. Mind you, I breastfed for 15 months with Dylan. With Darius, I breastfed for 5 months. And anybody need breastfeeding tips? If anybody need tips on how to stop breastfeeding and preventing you from getting sick afterwards, I have some tips for you. Even if we have some males on here, if your wife needs some tips, let me know. Just being around people. If you know me, you know that I love to be around people. I love to help people. I love to encourage people. I tell people all the time, I'm your number one supporter. I will be your cheerleader from day one, as long as you're loyal to me, loyal and honest. Um, I've been in my career here at Walmart for just over 5 years. Um, I started out in a finance position in audit, and then I've moved over to an HR position in diversity and inclusion just March of this year. I started at Walmart as an hourly temporary associate who was supposed to commit to 1 year as a temporary associate. But after 3 months, I came on as permanent with an exception. And I would say that moving here to Northwest Arkansas was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. No traffic. That's less stress for me and my family. My kids can be active. I am very active in the community as well. Um, it's family friendly, but since COVID, things have just been, it's been a little rough during COVID. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm not here to lie. I'm here to be very vulnerable and tell you my story um, and help us all get through the lives that we live every day. Um, I honestly thought we were only going to be home for like a month. So I was like, all right, well, this is just going to be like for a month. Having both kids home, I was like, okay, wait, like it's been a month. What time are these kids going back? Um, and then George Floyd happened. And I went to protest silently on the square. But before I went out there, I hugged and kissed my family and cried because if you know how protests have happened in other cities in relation to Black Lives Matter, it didn't end well for some people. And I didn't know if I was going to see my family again. But my intentions were to go out there, to gather with everybody, hold hands and embrace each other, and show that differences are okay. This is the way we were made. Differences are okay. Um, but I came home that night. I knew that I needed to be home before the sun went down, though, because I sensed something just wasn't going to be right. And thankfully, I did get home. I got tons of phone calls and texts like, "Hey, are you home? Look at the news. I need to know if you're home. If you're not, I'm on my way down there." And that just made my heart melt because they support me. They support my efforts. So then we are now, we've now been home almost 2 years. And although in the beginning I hated it, then it was just like, okay, I'm starting to get used to this, right? Um, but I needed to see faces. So throughout COVID, I had my friend and her family. I call her my sister from another mister, and of course my brother from another mother. And they're white, but that's my family. Their kids are my nephews. Those are my village kids. Um, because it takes a village to raise kids. We literally hung around each other almost every weekend because Darius and Dylan's doctor said to just watch who you be around, but be around like minded people. We don't have to be the same race to be like minded. Nonetheless, December of last year, we bought an RV. Yes, Black people have RVs. Us. We didn't trust hotels, so we were like, we can just go wherever and take our RV. And we camped a lot. Um, like I said, March of this year, I made that change to going over to human resources or, the people org because my passion is with people. I am here to support all people. I'm here to educate all people. That switch over was great. But then May of this year, I started to fall into a bit of depression because things were just different for me. And, just trying to get, you know, um, trying to get acclimated in the new position as well as dealing with volunteerism. Um, there were some challenges, and I didn't know how to handle those challenges. So I struggled through the summer, hit my 5-year mark at Walmart in July of this year, while my husband started his first month at Sam's Club, July of this year. Um, yeah, the entire summer I just struggled. Um, I will tell you that this is just in general. People will try to bring you down, but you can't allow that. You can't allow other people to take happiness from yourself. You can't take happiness from yourself. You're great. You're always going to be great. And if you feel like you're going through something, we have to remember that there is always somebody else out there who's going through something worse. You have to make lemonade out of lemons. You have to. It's not even a question. When you wake up every morning, you get dressed and you come with your best. And every day for me, my best is putting on red lipstick. It gives me, it changes my entire mood. But not just that. That's not the game changer. The game changer isn't the red lipstick. The game changer is acknowledging that you're going through something, admitting that you're going through something, and just letting go. September of this year, I went to the National Black MBA Conference in Chicago. I was surrounded by so many Black people. I loved every second of it. I felt so encouraged. I felt like I could conquer the world around these Black people. Those were my people. They embraced me. They opened their arms to me. I stayed there from Tuesday to Saturday. That Friday, I looked at myself in the mirror as I was getting dressed, and I said to myself, I'm done. Forget it. We're done with this. There's going to be no more depression. There's going to be no more anxiety. Mind you, I do go and see a therapist, right? But in order for me to take care of my family, take care of my village kids, my friends, I have to take care of myself first. I will be the first person to take care of somebody else, but I always forget about myself. If you don't take care of yourself, your family won't have you, your friends won't have you. You woke up this morning. That wasn't your choice. That was the plan. Because this is another chapter in your life where you're going to begin to reclaim your happiness. And you should start that today. I have been recovering from anxiety and depression for almost a month. And I feel amazing. I wake up every morning and say in my head, I'm happy. It's just that simple for me to be able to continue. In addition, every day I write down my feelings and emotions so that I can figure out what's triggering me to feel that way. And then I prevent it the next time. So when I know if something happens, I can prevent it the next time. Be there for yourself. Don't depend on somebody else to provide you with your happiness. But you deserve it. You deserve every bit of that happiness. So let's start this journey today. Hold your head up, put your red lipstick on, put some Vaseline on your lips, or both, either one, or both. Put some Vaseline on them elbows, them knees, and if them ankles out, put some Vaseline on that because you can't be gray. You need to be great. So let's be great together. Let's hold hands in this journey together. Now, every day, my post won't be this long, but I figured, for chapter 1, we need to ensure that you understand my background and that I'm not perfect. I'm just here to share how I am getting through this, hoping that it will help you. But if I can help one person, I'm happy. Now, I don't know how to do all them little graphics and stuff, and I don't need that because I feel like the content is what you need, right? So don't judge me. It's a judge-free zone, and you can put your feelings in the chat, and we can get through them together. So, in the end, I love you all. I support you all. I'm encouraging you all. I'm here for you. And I'm wishing you the very best today. Hold your head up high, kings and queens, because this is just the beginning. See you tomorrow.